insurance companies and save money on their healthcare costs. But my really big passion is I was a fitness instructor and yoga instructor, it seems like in another life. And so I love helping people make that transformation and seeing that light bulb go off on the top of their head and just really make positive lifestyle changes. And I am a firm believer that a company or an organization is really only as strong as its employees. So I'm just going to share with you a little bit tonight some pieces of information that will really help you become consumers of your own healthcare. All right, so healthcare reform laws, you hear it called different things: Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. People call it different things. Those combined with a lot of the other laws that we're dealing with today, the ERISA laws, GINA laws, HIPAA, what they're doing is they're creating a lot of confusion. They're making today's healthcare environment very negatively charged. No matter where you look, you're seeing healthcare increases, no matter if you're an organization or if you're an individual. It's going to trickle down. If you haven't experienced it, it will eventually. And what that's affecting is sustainability in this country. So what we're experiencing is companies are having to cut their benefits packages. It's affecting the cost of our healthcare. It's affecting jobs, salaries, growth, bonuses, I mean, pretty much you name it. And also what it's affecting is basically wellness programs clarity. I'm sure most of you here tonight work for an employer that has at least some type of wellness program in place. But again, there's a lot of noise in this space, a lot of confusion going on. So what we help employers do is really kind of help clarify, decipher the confusion, and just really, kind of quiet the space so they can make educated decisions. So kind of like what I said a minute ago, I am a firm believer that employees are an organization's most important asset. Getting them to focus at work and on work that matters, very, very, very difficult, as I'm sure some of you have experienced. How many of you in here tonight are in a managerial position that oversee people? Right, some of you? I'm sure the statistic probably isn't very surprising to you. There are statistics out there that really kind of cover the gamut that would surprise you, but one of them is that managers can spend up to 16 hours a work week dealing with their subordinates' mistakes. That's 2 hours during the day. So imagine if you were in an environment where 100% of the people were giving 100% of their effort 100% of the time. So that's a pretty high bar, 100% focus, 100% of the time, but that's not really manageable in like a normal situation. But what is manageable is addressing preventable conditions and chronic conditions and chronic illnesses. So what happens if an employer as a group or you as an employee doesn't have preventative measures in place? Well, basically you're going to pay more for healthcare. And kind of like what I said before, even if you're not personally experiencing it, you're experiencing it in some ways, and it's eventually going to trickle down. So there are some, as you can kind of see in this graphic, there's some average costs that are kind of floating around out there that you can expect to pay if you have one of these 5 major chronic conditions. And I don't know if any of you have, if you notice anything on this graphic, but typically these conditions go hand in hand. So very rarely does somebody have an issue with BMI and not high blood pressure, or very rarely does somebody a smoker but doesn't have high blood pressure. So if you look at these costs, then you can really see why our healthcare costs are out of control. So I'm sure a lot of you here have worked for or do work for an organization that has experienced healthcare increases, over the past year or two. We worked with an employer earlier on this summer that was looking at an 85% increase in their healthcare. So when you hear of situations like that, when you hear of health plans doubling, that is not an urban myth. Those are actually very, very, very real situations. So think to yourself right now how much you're paying right now for your health plan, for your benefits. And imagine what that would look like if it all of a sudden increased, 10%. 30%, even 85%. Imagine, what that would look like coming out of your pocket. If an employer experiences just a 10% increase every single year, that's going to double what you're paying within approximately 7 years or so. So I'm sure you guys have all kind of seen the Progressive commercials with Flo, with the car insurance. So kind of like where you're a good driver, so you're going to get rewarded, you're going to pay less for health insurance. Well, bona fide wellness programs, the wellness programs that work that really address prevention, they work very much the same way. So goal-based plans are plans that address prevention and that basically allows employees and participants on the plan to be consumers of their own health care, where you have the opportunity to even pay less. So metrics are the key. We're very, very, very big about metrics. When I was a personal trainer, I was very big about assessments and assessing everything that we could, getting as much data as we could, and then really kind of assessing the progress that individuals make. It's really cool because you can do that from a health standpoint, and you can also do it from a financial standpoint as well. So to be consumers of your own healthcare with a focus on prevention, basically you need to focus on the wide spectrum of wellness. Fitness is a wonderful tool when we talk about wellness, gym memberships and personal trainers, things like that. Nutrition, the same thing. But there are a lot of other things that we look at when we look at wellness, and ultimately, if you address all of these different things, one of them is going to be the cornerstone of your own personal wellness plan, and it's really going to kind of build a strong foundation for that success. So for all of you kind of numbers geeks out there like I am, just want to kind of share with you some of the statistics that we have in place. We have a lot of case studies. We've done some really great things with employers as a group, but also with individual employees. We worked with employees that have been to their doctors for years and years and years, same types of medication, different medications, just really addressing the symptoms, not the problem. And we were able to, in a short period of time, really kind of turn that around. And you can see from this one case study, in just 18 months, we reduced tobacco users by 50%, high blood pressure by 91%, LDL cholesterol by 67%, and took the number of diabetics from 7 to 1, and really addressed some of those like really urgent and critical situations. And here's where it's really cool. Typically, in today's environment, we ask employers to set aside 10% of their healthcare costs for preventative measures for their employees. With this particular employer, we came in 4.5% under budget, showed them a nearly 5-to-1 hard dollar savings and a 17-to-1 return on investment. We also helped them extend a 0% renewal on their insurance premiums for a period of 17 months. And we've done this for a number of employers. We have multiple clients with 0% renewals, so kind of imagine that job security that you would have to know that you have a benefits plan, a competitive benefits package, that your healthcare costs are not going to increase, at least for a period of time. We're also able to take clients to self-funded plans where they weren't able to afford benefits before, where they weren't able to provide benefits to their employees, which is really cool. And we can help them experience immediate hard dollar savings. Literally, we have helped clients experience hard dollar savings with us in day one, just from signing a contract, which is really cool. We can also help insurance carriers reimburse for healthcare costs and wellness costs for the employees. So that's just kind of like a little bit about being consumers of your own healthcare, being conscious of what's happening in the healthcare space right now, and just being conscious of doing every single thing that you can to take those preventative measures. I think if employers really take the responsibility to put good, successful wellness programs in place, and employees take the responsibility to be consumers of their own healthcare, then we really will make this world a better place and make a difference in the healthcare. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you guys all so much for coming out.